Hi, welcome to Mishnayis Sukkah, Chapter 5, Mishnah 2. In this video, we're going to learn how to unlock the power that we all have inside of us as we explore the special preparations made for Simchas Beis Hashoeva. And we're going to zoom right in on the fascinating task performed by these 4 young Kohanim during the Yomtov of Sukkas. They schlepped a whopping 120 logs of oil up a tall ladder, which is over 41 litres in volume. It's absolutely crazy. And they did it to fill the golden candelabras in the Beis Hamikdash. We discussed their incredible physical strength they were blessed with, their focus and dedication that was needed by these young Kohanim to perform this amazing task. So please join us as we uncover the powerful lesson we can learn from this ancient tradition and how we can apply it in our lives to overcome our challenges and achieve our goals and our dreams. B'motzei Yomtov Harishon, at the going out, at the conclusion of the first day of Yomtov, Shel Chag of Sukkos, Yardal Ezras Nashim, they went down to the Ezras Nashim. Let's straight away have a look at the Tiferes Yisrael on this. V'hu adin kol yemei chol hamoed. And this applied of going down from the Ezras Yisrael to the Ezras Nashim to set things up every day of Chol HaMoed, Acha HaKravas Tamid Bein HaArbaim, after the offering up of the regular burnt offering of the afternoon. Who were these people that went down there? Kohanim and Leviyim. It was the Kohanim and it was the Leviyim, Sheba Azara, that was in the court. Yardim Ezras Yisrael, they would go down from the Ezras Yisrael, the Ezras Nashim, to the women's court Sheba Shipole Hahar, that was on a slant on the mount. And the Ezras Yisrael, where the men were allowed, they went down to the Ezras Nashim. Now the Ezras Nashim, the women could also be there, but it's called Ezras Nashim because that's where they were allowed, as well as the men were allowed there. Whereas women were not permitted to go into the Ezras Yisrael. So what did they do when they came down into the Ezras Nashim? Or Mesaknin Sham Tikkun Gadol. They fixed up there a big tikkun, a big rectification.
Oh no!
That is not what we're talking about over here. What's wrong with my video? Tikkun Gadol, says the Bar Tanura, a big rectification, because they would surround the Ezras Nashim with balconies, and they would seat the women up above on those balconies, and the men would be down below, in order that they shouldn't come to lightheadedness, which would lead to inappropriate thoughts and behavior. Now going to the Tiferes Yisrael, a grosse Ordnung, a big arrangement, a big rectification. What was a rectification? Shenichu krashim im maika. They laid down beams with a safety fence, saviv al hazizin, around on these ledges, these pieces of wood or beams, sheyotzin mahachome saviv, that would stick out from the walls around the Ezras Nashim. V'sham amdu alein, and there the women could stand on them, Hanashim, the women, liroi Simchas Beis Hashoeva, to see the rejoicing of the Beis Hashoeva, Shahaya Lamata, which was down below Ezras Nashim in the women's court. V'loyis arva Nashim im ha'anoshim, and the women would not be mixed with the men. It was done in a sneeze, in a modest way, to keep people separate so they could be focused on what they needed to be focused on. Going on in the Mishnah, Menorahs shel zav hayosham. There were candelabras made out of gold, the arba sfolim shel zav barashehem, and there were 4 bowls made out of gold at their heads. So if we just have a look over here at a picture from the Temple Institute, so you can see over here that you've got, there are different opinions as to the number of these candelabras that were there in the Ezras Nashim. According to some opinions, there were at least 2, there might have been more, and according to some opinions, there were 4. So you would have these lamps over here, and you can see over here some other pictures of the lamps as well. And you can see over here the Kohanim that they had to climb up, which we're going to discuss in a minute. And here's some more pictures of those lamps from the Temple Institute. And they built around these gezustros, these balconies. And you can see over here, there's the balcony on the top over there that the women would sit on, and men would be down below doing the celebration. And the Bar Tanura over here says, Barashan at the heads, Barosh Kol menorah, at the head of every menorah that would surround that pole, you would have those 4 lamps. The Arba'ah Solomos, and you had 4 ladders, L'chol echad ve'echad, for each one. The Arba'ah Yolodim, and 4 children or youths, Mipirchei Chahuna, from the young Kohanim. Just looking at these words, Yolodim Mipirchei Chahuna, and the children, these children from the, or youths from the young Kahuna, from these young Kohanim. Let's just have a look what the Tiferes Yisrael has to say on these words. From the youths of the Kahuna, of the Kohanim. Al kol sulam yoshev kohen echad. On every ladder would sit one Kohen, Rach Bashonim, who was gentle or young in years. Shekal lalos, that he was light, he was quick to ascend, to go up on that ladder. Venir Ali, and it appears to me, that even though we already said that they were children, they were youths, they were young, they also quote the words in the Mishnah, Pirchei Kahuna, these young Kohanim, that they chose those ones that were beautiful like flowers, they were handsome, they looked good in their appearance. And they were quick in their actions, like a flying bird. So we have this perach, that means like a flower, handsome and beautiful like a flower. They'd fly like a bird, they'd be quick. And all of this, why they chose these young, active, agile bachrim, these young men, was because it was to make the Simcha even more beautiful. Just also to learn more about the nature of these young men from the Melechas Shlomo. Tana Mishabachim Hayo. The Tana learned that they were very praiseworthy. Yoser Mibno Shel Marta Bas Beisus. They were even greater than the son of Marsa Bas Beisus. HaKohen, the Kohen, Shaya Noitel Beis Yerechos, take 2 thighs, Shel Shur, of an ox, Hagodol, a big ox, Shel Lekach Be'el of Zuz, that he bought for 1,000 Zuz, or Mahalach Bekevesh, Aked B'tzad Gudel. And he would walk up the ramp of the Mizbach with the heel next to the toe, next to his big toe, which means he was walking very, very slowly because he was so strong. Even though the way of a person carrying a heavy load is to run, because you want to hurry up and move it because it's so heavy. Hurry up, it's so heavy! But he didn't. He was so strong that he was walking slowly. But his brothers did not let him do so. Mishum beroiv am hadras melch, because we have a concept in the multitude of people is the glory of the king. That means that when you do a mitzvah, you want to do it with a lot of people. V'tnan, and we learn Perek Shani Diyom in the second Perek of Yoma, Par Karav B'chof Dalad. A bull was offered by 24 people. We want to have a lot of people involved in the mitzvah, but the fact is he started walking up the ramp with 2 thighs of an ox, which was really heavy, and they stopped him okay, but this shows you how strong he was. But those boys, those young Kohanim, were even stronger than him, and they dedicated their lives to this work in the Beis HaMikdash. Let's go back to the Mishnah now. Uvidehem, and in their hands, kadim shel shemen, jugs of oil, shel meya ve'estrim loy. They were 120 loy. That's 41 liters. That's 120 loy. That is a mammoth amount of oil. Shehem matilin lechol seifel v'seifel, that they would pour into each bowl. Looking at the Tosfos Yomtov, Shalmev Estrim log of 120 log. The Tana learned Shal Shloshim log. Well, it was collectively altogether between 4 of the Kohanim for 1 candelabra. It would have been 4 times 30 is 120 log, but each one of them schlepped up 30 log, which that itself, that's over, nearly 10.5 liters, 10.35 liters, according to Avram Chaim Noah's measurements. That's a phenomenal weight. That's quite heavy going upright on a ladder. Shem kulam mev eshem lug, and they are all collectively adding up to 120 loig. So the question is, why did they say 120 loig when really it was only 30 loig per person? So if we have a look over here, V'tana didan klalanaka, our Tana is actually quoting a general idea over here that he's trying to teach us. V'efshali loma, and it's possible for me to say, says the Tosfos Yomtov, mishum desimoneo shnoisav shel Moshe Rabbeinu olav hashol, because they want to give us a sign of the number of years of Moshe Rabbeinu. It's referring to the 120 years that Moshe Rabbeinu lived, she'or torosei zorachas oleno, that the light of his Torah shines upon us. And it's still shining today as well. Summing up what we've learned today, at the conclusion of the first day of the Yomtov of Sukkas, the Kohanim and Leviyim would go down to the Ezras Nashim and would make a big rectification, a big improvement there. They would surround the Ezras Nashim with balconies where the women would sit up high and the men down below to watch the celebrations so they wouldn't come to kalas roish, to lightheadedness or inappropriate behavior. There were several candelabras made out of gold set up in the Ezras Nashim. They were very tall, and each one had 4 bowls of oil at the top with 4 ladders leading to them. We learned about the 4 young Kohanim per candelabra that would carry up between them 120 lon of oil, working out to 30 lon per person. That's about 10.35 litres per person. And they'd climb up to the top and fill them up with oil. And that was a very difficult task. We need to learn from those young, hard-working Kohanim. They took their strengths and they used it for Kedusha. They used it for mitzvahs. And we need to learn to take our own God-given gifts and use it constructively to do good things as well. Rav tois b'koyach shor. Through the power of an ox, it produces a lot of produce. So too, when we use our strength, whatever we've been blessed with, not just physical, but anything, to do good things, to do mitzvahs, we make the world a better place. So use your strengths to learn and daven and work really hard, and you'll produce good things to help make this world a better place to live in.